This is the team I have making it to the Super Bowl out the NFC. Hey, so quick disclaimer before we get to the episode. This NFC North preview was recorded last week on August the 7th. So not covered is Caleb Williams and the Bears' first preseason game that wasn't the Hall of Fame game, episode 2 of Hard Knocks, and JJ McCarthy's injury that we still aren't that clear on. If you are watching the YouTube version of this, the full NFC North preview is available via podcast, link in the description. The rest of the visuals will come out throughout the week. And disclaimer number 3, since Usayd is a Bears writer, we went very Bears heavy, as you can see by the timestamp. So the rest of the NFC North, I owe you a more in-depth preview. That will be out on Saturday, August 17th. Same old channels, same old things. So that's why you subscribe to keep up with the page. All right, bet. Let's get into the episode. Detroit Lions, America's sweetheart last year, 12-5, and oh, buddy, a lot of bitten off kneecaps. We finally got to see the Dan Campbell philosophy realized in a real way, coming, I was going to say a game short, but really a half short of the Super Bowl last year. Really were able to fill some of those holes in the offseason, specifically on the defensive back, which I'm sure we will dig into shortly. So without further ado, what is more likely for these Detroit Lions? Will they make the Super Bowl or miss the playoffs?
I mean, that's a tough question. I do think that there's a legit shot that they missed the playoffs. And why? Because Dan Campbell at the end of the year referenced how he says he's like, listen, it's going to be real hard to kind of get back to the point that we were at. But the Lions offseason moves to me scream that they're certainly able to go ahead and to make the playoffs again. Because again, you have two really good corners, which are first 2 picks that you drafted, but they have all that continuity. Jameson Williams should finally be able to play a full season. You should also see Amon-Ra St. Brown continue to just perform at a high level. There is some sort of, I think, argument to be made for David Montgomery has been really good. Jamar Gibbs should have another really good year. The offensive line is going to be good per usual. The tight end room, I love Sam Laporta, big fan of his. So this is, again, at the end of the day, a team that legitimately has a shot to be real good once again. And then you start to just look at, some of the additions that they've made in free agency. Like you get Marcus Davenport, again, a former first-round pick. You bring in DJ Reader from Cincinnati. You go ahead and you sign Carlton Davis, who, again, played for a handful of years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a legit chance the Lions are winning the division for the second straight season.
This is the team I have making it to the Super Bowl out the NFC. There's several reasons for that. But the main one is I look at the improvements they made to this DB room. I absolutely adore Carlton Davis, and I cannot believe that Tampa let him walk out the door. I get it, but I still can't believe it. And to this team of all of them, oh, dear God. The pass rush does raise some concerns, but if they're able to hold up in the DB room, I feel like they'll be able to placate a lot more of that. But I want to see if I can get you to roll with me on this. I've been peeking at some Jared Goff MVP odds. I've been looking at them. I haven't asked them out to dinner just yet, but I've been looking. I've been scrolling their Instagram page and like, looking kind of interesting. They only have 3 games outside this year. One of them is in Chicago in December, but that's fine. Where do you see Jared Goff this season? Am I crazy for thinking he has an outside shot at this MVP?
I mean, no, I think you're not crazy, because the big thing is the thing that no one wants to talk about when it comes to the Detroit Lions is the simple fact of the matter, which is their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who's kind of the architect of this offense that's sort of a hybrid between some of the stuff that the Eagles like to do and some of the stuff that the Rams love to go ahead and do. But no one wants to talk about the fact that Ben Johnson effectively came in last 2 to 3 years ago and just completely went ahead and figured it out, right? Jared Goff, too, was once thought of a journeyman, but the reality is he suddenly found a new home in Detroit and figured it out. And for all the people who kind of said, well, Jared's not a good quarterback, I mean, the guy's proven to be a damn good quarterback. But the most underrated offseason move of the Lions is getting Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, back because he's the architect of a lot of this. So there's a legit chance that, we are seeing Goff play like a top 10 quarterback in the league.
I kind of couldn't believe he came back, unless losing to the Niners that way really left a really bitter taste in his mouth. And he was like, nah, we got to finish the job. We got to get over the hump, which makes me a little more solid in the, okay, they might be able to win the whole gosh darn thing. Finish it out for the podcast. Day after the Super Bowl, headline for the Detroit Lions season is what?
I mean, I would say the Motor City finally gets to win it all. So, because it's tough to say, but if the Lions are as good as they were last year, there's a legit shot that, they're back once again. So, and again, just having that roster, I will say this to kind of close this thing out regarding Detroit. You had a team that, again, they pretty much spent 2 full seasons building. Okay. They took that big jump last year. Everyone sort of went ahead and made fun of Dan Campbell. But the reality of it all is that, Campbell was hired in 2021. 21 and 22, they kind of had to figure it out. 23, they really took that true leap. They added a lot of talent. And now all of a sudden you're in this sort of season where, going into 2024, the entire core is back. The band's back together. There's a legit shot that the Lions are as good as, we say, as good as some people think they are.
Sounds good. My man, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast, helping me out today. Very informative. I'm sure the people are going to love it. Please let them know where they can find you, the socials, the podcast, the writing, all the good things.
Yes, you can check me out on Twitter at Usayd Koshul. You can check out my work on the Bear Report website as well. That's really kind of the main thing I do covering the Chicago Bears. Be sure to check out the Picks for Polls podcast as well. A lot of college football, NFL draft stuff on there as it relates to the Bears and just the NFL in general. And then, if you do follow me on Twitter, be sure to interact with me. Always looking to get some sort of good conversation going.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been the KBK Beloved Show. We will catch y'all next week.